It's go time. We're back to talk about a race. More than just a race. Spoiler alert, gang. Bite Size Sports is becoming immersed in the world of racing in more ways than one, but I won't spoil everything now. Nate is here. Welcome, sir. Before we talk about all the crazy things that we did a couple weeks ago, you came in hot with some breaking NASCAR news, and just in case this one might be a long one, maybe we should start there for the folks who are looking for that.
So yeah, as you're all are about to see here in a hot second, this was announced today. NASCAR's going street racing.
Street racing in Chicago. Okay, you showed me this map, and it looked cool, but I haven't been to Chicago on a regular basis in like a decade and a half. I think the last time I went was with you. But can you help me out here and explain, like, where the hell this is? Like a race that's in downtown Chicago on the streets, like they're turning the streets into a road course. Am I understanding this?
Yeah. So just to pull out here, I'll pull it up on normal Google map. Will add satellite to it here. So here is all of Chicago. Here we're talking downtown inside the loop, kind of here. So here's Grant Park, which also has the Buckingham Fountain, which is pretty famous. So this is what the course looks like here. So we'll start here. So you go down. This is going to be the front stretch, and then where the start-finish line is. So they're going to have all sorts of like club, suite, cabana crap going down the front stretch for all the rich folks. And then you're going to hang, they're going south on Columbus, and then you're going to hang a left here onto East Balboa all the way to South Lakeshore Drive. So you're going to, once they get onto Lakeshore Drive here, they're going to have a nice view of the lake. And then if you have TV, I don't know where their TV cameras are going to be set up, but the TV cameras shooting into the city, then you got a nice skyline in the background. So that's going to be kind of cool. So you go down Lakeshore Drive towards Museum Campus. So this is the Field Museum. This is the Shed Aquarium. Obviously, this is Adler Planetarium. This is just right north of Soldier Field. They'll hang a right here on Roosevelt, and then pretty much hang another right immediately back onto Columbus. Go all the way down, turn left on Balboa. So this is turn 1, turn 2. I think they're counting this as a turn 3, 4. Okay, I think this is going to be turn 6 technically. Hang a left here. So the two turns butt up to each other, but there's going to be stuff in between. But I wonder if there's a huge wreck on either of these. What's going to happen to the wall if it's going to push in? Come on down, hang a right on Balboa. Hang a right from Balboa to Michigan. So head north on Michigan, and they're going to take the Congress Plaza Drive. So it's still going straight. It's going to do this bull moon U shape, whatever you want to call it, all the way to Jackson. Turn right on Jackson, and then there's another lap as people can.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, see, I like that because when you first showed it to me, I was like, I see that's downtown, I think. So that's cool. I do enjoy that. Now, as a resident, I would hate it. I get very frustrated. At least I did when I worked downtown. I got frustrated at the frequency of 5Ks and half marathons that are run in Columbus during the week when people have jobs to do. So I imagine the locals who are not race fans are probably going to be a little peeved about this. But for the rest of us, it's going to be sweet. What are your thoughts? Oh, go ahead.
Before I give my thoughts, this is where Lollapalooza, we'll pull out better. So this is like where Lollapalooza is held. I think the Taste, I don't know if it still exists, but Taste of Chicago was here. I mean, events happen all
Eh,
the time here. The Cubs, um, the parade ended up in Grant Park, and then they had the whole people speak, I don't know, whatever, celebration, speaking thing, whatever. That was in Grant Park. I mean, things happen here over the time, all the time. I'm just curious. I don't know what streets they're going to be shutting off. So, like, Lakeshore Drive is a very famous and widely used road. I mean, it gets real backed up. I don't know how much of that they're going to cut off if it's getting cut off a little farther down here and then where they're cutting it off up here. Because you got to also think about where all the haulers and team stuff going to be at. I mean, I'm sure that's still going to be planned a little bit, but I mean, it'll be exciting. I once I found out the dates, which I don't think it says on here, but oh yeah, it does. July 1st, 2nd, 2023. So the support series, there's going to be two races. One is a IMSA class. They haven't determined which one it is. And for people who don't know what IMSA is, that's basically sports car racing. So like the Daytona prototypes, the if you go to the GP class or GT class, you'll have your like Ferraris and Lexus and I think they got Porsche and Corvettes and stuff like that will be in there. So they'll race on, I imagine, Saturday, and then Sunday it'll be the Cup Series racing there. So I'm excited. I'm definitely going. When I found out the date, I tried to um, reserve a hotel around here because there's a couple. There's actually one right about here. Actually, yeah, it's this building right here, I believe. It's a decent hotel, and I've stayed there, and it would have been like a great view, especially you're on the upper floor. But like, so a lot of were already sold out, and then you couldn't probably get anything downtown area, um, as well as like throughout like over here for less than 400 a night in Chicago. So that's going to be a no go. I got a
yeah.
buddy that lives somewhere out over here
Somewhere out to
that may,
sea in the lake.
yeah. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is we'll probably stay like in Hammond, or there's a casino with a, yeah, right here, casino with a hotel. That would be kind of neat. And then hop on what's called the South Shore. It's basically a train that goes from Chicago to South Bend with some stops along the way. Real easy to use. It's not very expensive um, at all. So, and it'll be a lot easier than trying to find fucking parking in downtown, especially with this going on.
No kidding. And shout out to trains. We need more trains like that in America so that I can go to places at a reasonable cost and support other economies within these great United States. So you're going, so that means we will have some footage of some great horizon, some lakeshore driving. That's pretty cool. I mean, something like that in a city like Chicago, that's got to draw some attention, which it's on record that I still don't know much about NASCAR, but I understand the big get of getting national attention for your sport. So, has to be a pretty big day, I imagine.
Well, and like, you know, mind you, this is just Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt. But
Our
there are
bag.
some people on the Chicago one with a post that were like, "Yeah, I'll go to it. I wish it was Formula One, but they'll still check it out." I mean, that's what they're kind of going for with this. It is they're taking the date away from Road America, which is uh, actual road course up in Wisconsin at Elkhart Lake. Not super far off of the lake, um, but it's a real neat road course. But they're taking that date and giving it to street course, which I wish they would keep Road America, but you know, this is still going to be really cool. So we'll see.
Yeah, from the feedback I saw, it seemed more like it would have maybe been an even more welcomed situation if it was in addition instead of replacing a different track. Because sort of the feedback I got is like there aren't, and maybe you can correct this, but some of what I saw on Twitter seemed to imply that there aren't enough of these road courses anyway. So why are you swapping it out? Just add a date. But I don't,
Well,
it could be
no.
a lot more difficult than that sounds.
Up until recently, though, NASCAR only went to two, maybe three in a year. And then for a while they went to two, Sonoma and Watkins Glen, and then 2018 added the Charlotte Roval, which is just basically a road course that uses part of the oval in Charlotte. And then they kind of went on a adding spree. So in the span of like 5 years, it went from two to six. I think maybe they had seven last year, just because of how with COVID regulations and stuff still kind of being around. So they didn't end up racing at Auto Club outside of LA. They raced at the Daytona Road Course, but a lot of people have complained about that. I think 6 or 7 personally is like a perfect amount for a stock car series like this. I would just, maybe switch some of them up or around. But what I wish they would have done is taken a date from Texas, which is a shitty fucking track, Kansas or Richmond, and then change the Indianapolis road course, because they've been on the road course now for 2 years. This will be the second year. Change that back to the oval, and then just add the street course so you keep Road America. But I'm not going to get too much in a tizzy about it, I guess.
Fair enough. Overall, still a net gain, but that context makes some of that stuff make a little more sense to me, and it makes some of the tweets seem a little bit more whiny than I originally thought that they were.
Did you happen upon what I like to call some dog whistle tweets?
Oh, probably, but none that are drawing any recollection. It was more
there were a handful of people like making comments about the cars are going to need like bulletproof armor.
That's where I figured you were going with that. Yeah. All right. Won't see me there, brother. I can't go down there. In concrete jungle, you know what I'm saying? It's too dangerous down there.
Which is funny because there are other places that NASCAR goes to that have higher. I don't know if it's strictly gun crime or violent crime, but that's a whole nother conversation we can have at another time. But
that's a different show. But yeah, Chicago's been living off of a very long-standing reputation. But I think that the numbers suggest that some cities are starting to catch up to them when it comes to that. But yeah, I'm not surprised based on my first adult NASCAR experience that I had a couple of weeks ago. Must say I'm not surprised to see and hear about some of these dog whistles.
So another thing, this is the last thing I say about that. I saw somebody comment, and it's like, well, I've heard all cities are like bad and no redeeming qualities, and I'm just sitting there like thinking, what rural ass fucking area have you not gotten your backwoods hillbilly self out of before?
All cities are bad, brother. It's where all the Democrats go. All them socialists and communists, Antifa, BLMs, they all congregate in cities. Don't you know that? Oh, it's good stuff. No, yeah. Hey, as a former hillbilly that got out of a really tiny town in one of these beloved Midwestern states, let me tell you, there's a bigger world out there, and y'all should try experiencing it. But anyway, this isn't bite-sized life lessons; it's bite-sized sports. Right. And we were at some sporting events right here in Ohio. About, what was it? Was it 2 weeks ago? These days are flying by, man. I can't keep up. It was the weekend before last.
10 days ago.
10 days ago, we made history right along with the NASCAR Truck Series by being at the first, NASCAR Truck Series race at the Mid-Ohio racetrack. Some of us had a more successful trip than others.
Its official name is Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
The sports car course. I'll be honest, racetrack sounds better. Maybe that's
The
just me being
logo's
old
cool.
school. Maybe it sounds just a little too 1990s for folks, but I mean, maybe Speedway, Mid Ohio Speedway. But then that also feels kind of old school. What? Say it for me again. Run that back. What was it? Something
Mid
about.
Ohio Sports Car Course.
That sounds like something Vince McMahon would name his race car. So it's not wrestling, pal. It's sports entertainment. Dude, it's a racetrack, dude. It's a
Well,
it's
the
the Mid
sports.
Ohio Sports Complex for concrete.
Well, the sport. I mean, it's a
I know.
big sports car. I mean, course. You get like track days and like I mean the big for a while. The well, aside from IndyCar, the big event was the IMSA other series way back when sports car Grand Prix, whatever you want to call. So, I mean, the name fits for what it is.
It is. I'm busting some chops here, but obviously, and it doesn't take long, and you'll see in the footage in our upcoming behind the scenes look at this trip that we took. You'll get to see what we're talking about. But I mean, we were in the infield, and I was blown away at how big it was. I didn't quite remember the sheer size of it, but it was like a miniature state fair in there. You know, you had a couple of restaurants, had some food trucks running. You had
Mhm.
the most unique merch shops I've ever seen for lots of reasons. But yeah, it was the whole thing. It was amazing. I mean, Nate, I think we didn't even get to experience every vantage point that the track had to offer, but we made it to what, four different spots throughout the inside.
We're about three.
We hit three.
The first stage was front stretch. Second stage was the facing where turn one is up into the keyhole, and then we were in the China Beach area for stage three
For the finish, the glorious finish.
when it went all to shit.
Yeah, for at least, well, especially for me. This was my first time, so I don't know. I guess I'll start because I have nothing to compare it to. So I'll kind of, I guess, spit out my experience. And then, since you're the veteran, you can maybe clear some things up, provide some real value to the situation, and at some point we'll have to tell the story of our favorites and how well mine did. But anyway, I would say, I mean, again, having no previous experience, I thought the event went really well. I was encouraged by the autograph line. I mean, we got there and there was a line already forming for autographs. There was a earlier morning race in it. You'll have to help me out with what that race was that had run in the morning.
It was like Formula Juniors or something like that. I mean,
Okay.
it was younger. It's a younger series, like for younger people to do. For the life of me, I'll have to look this up because it's kind of bothering me now.
Fair, fair, and yeah. So while you're doing that, so that was going on, and in the general, starting finishing line area, they had this big L table, and eventually the racers showed up, and everyone moved through the line and got some autographs. And Nate, was that free? I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is I had to double check because I'm about to give them praise for that because I think that is again, I'm looking at this as the optics of, was this good entertainment value for those that chose to come, because I can't offer you any feedback on whether or not the racing was good. That's what Nate will get into. That's what one of the not what he's here for, but one of the many things he offers. But I would say like that stuff like that is very encouraging. I think it really encourages the next generation of fans. I still have memories to this day of catching a Harlem Globetrotters wristband as like a 6 or 7 year old, and I was basketball writer now as an adult, so you just never know, like those early fanhoods, those last a lifetime. And so when you have this opportunity for young kids, and then there were plenty of adults there too, but when you have this opportunity for people to meet these athletes and get these autographs for free, and obviously in a bigger market, there's a reason these things, people charge for these things, and that's kind of gross. That's the secondhand, kind of black market of memorabilia that is just kind of a sad
Right.
reality of sports. But good for the racers and good for them for not making the true fans pay for it. So that was very cool. Like I said, I liked it. I've been to a lot of music festivals in my day, and the race, despite the fact that we were the only ones doing a proper grill, which I think if the weather had been better and we had gotten there the night before, I'm sure there would have been plenty other people doing that.
Well, I'm
With
sure there are
us.
people that were camping out or had their RV and been there all weekend. I'm sure they were doing it, because we didn't. I mean, on the way in, we saw a lot of that parking, but
Yeah.
you know, not really in depthly.
So despite the fact that we were the only ones rocking a true tailgate, I mean, it did have that festival environment. Lawn chairs everywhere, music playing, and the crowd was great. I mean, I don't think we met anyone. There wasn't anybody that was terrible. There weren't a lot of social butterflies in the crowd, but no one was rude that I remember. Everyone was
I
perfectly
don't know that
nice.
guy. That guy definitely didn't like Kyle Busch.
Fuck Kyle Busch. Oh, I forgot about that guy. That was amazing. I think we have footage of that. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't.
I can't remember what he was saying aside from some stuff about Kyle Busch, but then remember he looked back and I think he was a little irritated we were listening in, but he was kind of loud, so
Oh, well, and I think he was irritated that we were listening in because I could not contain myself. And I just remembered. I don't know if I got some audio, but I did take down a diligent note here. And this is the official Kyle Busch opinion of one relatively drunken Mid Ohio expert. 1 minute he likes grass, the next minute he hates grass. 1 minute he likes asphalt, the next minute he hates it. 1 minute he likes dick. Notices Nate and I watching. I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. So there it is. Kyle Busch just can't seem to make up his mind on what he likes to drive on, or apparently his sexual preference either. Which it's tough, man. This guy should have gone a little easier on our dear friend Kyle Busch. Yeah, I had forgotten about that, which is sad because I mean there were two things that I came into this race hoping for. I was hoping to hear, "Show me your butthole" and "Fuck Kyle Busch." And I got at least one.
yeah, you got to go about 10 hours from closer to 10 hours from Columbus to make it down to see some butthole,
Butthole
but
territory. Hey, I might make it down to Dago one of these days. We're getting fully ingrained in this world. Listen.
come on down in October, man.
Hey, I might. Bite-sized sports is getting into the racing game. We got some. We might have some skin in the game here soon. I'll spare y'all the details because I have to at the moment. But just know that the next time we're talking racing, I might have something cool to show you. So we're here. We're here to stay now. So I would say my final thoughts on just the event in general. I thought it was ran pretty well. We had the benefit of Nate's cable access to be able to watch the TV broadcast. So if I were to give it some critiques, I would say maybe a few more monitors in certain areas to allow. I mean, it's a massive track, so depending on where you're sitting, you're not really getting a whole lot. So I do think some monitors could help with that, just so people can follow along with the action, see everything that's going on. But other than that, I would have to say that this was a success, especially for a first-time event. I'll be looking forward to going again to see how it's improved, and to hope that I pick a better racer. I pick a better truck next time. I've been learning a lot. But anyway, that is the pleb. That is the newborn infant baby NASCAR opinion. So Nate, you tell me what really happened when we were there.
So Yeah, what really happened. I thought, first of all, just in a general statement about the race itself, I thought the race was really good. I mean, it was pretty competitive. I mean, the winner ended up leading 56 to 67 laps, which you would think would be like, okay, maybe this is, I want to say boring, but it's a blowout. But I mean, it wasn't. I mean, the 38 truck of Zane Smith, he definitely had a better car, better truck, long runs, which at the end didn't kind of play into his hands with as many as many cautions as came in the third stage right there, because there's like people were driving great. I mean, there was a few, I guess, questionable things that happened in some earlier stages, but third stage it kind of just went way to hell basically. So yeah, I pulled up the cumulative report for the race. I don't know why I'm like brain farting today. But there was a caution on lap 9, 18, 21, and 9 and 18. That was the 46 stopped on the track from G2G Racing with a shit box of a truck. And then
Yeah, remember that name because we're coming back to that.
and then the 20 truck, remember, was stopped at pit exit, but that they were having some problems. Then you had no cautions in stage 2, so you had the stage 1 end caution, stage 2 end caution. Then you had the 41. I don't know if you remember that, where he got his brakes ended up failing. That was Justin Marks, who also is a co-owner of Trackhouse Racing in the Cup Series, and a co-owner with Pitbull. Yes,
Oh,
Pitbull the artist.
Mr. 305.
Yep.
Very, very cool.
And that was right in front of us, because we had migrated to the China Beach area, so 4, 5, and 6. Then they had some fluid on track. I forget offhand what truck was kind of like blowing up a little bit. And then the last caution was for the 51, who basically blew a transmission. But in that area too, people were still wrecking and spinning. They just didn't end up calling cautions and for those, because they ended up getting going. But there was a lot of mayhem, 4, 5, 6 in that last stage. About the last, I guess, about 10 laps in the race, everybody just decided to drive like dicks and you know that sort of thing. But I mean, that part aside, though, that was the cleanest fight for the lead finish, race for the win at the end I've seen in a while. I mean, there was a little contact, but Zane Smith and Parker Klingerman raced each other really clean, and nobody wrecked each other for the win. So that was a lot of good racing there at the end. And I mean, I'll say those cautions probably helped Parker Klingerman, as I mentioned, because Zane Smith's truck was a little better on longer runs.
Yeah, it was certainly chaos there at the end. That much even I could tell. You mentioned the G2G team, which very fitting that there would be some new news about them. I don't know if it broke today, but it so happens that I'm learning about it today. But you, in particular, one of my first comments upon the start of the race, I'm paraphrasing myself here, but kind of pointed at a truck that was about a half a lap behind.
That was a different truck.
Within the first, okay, so that was a different truck. All right.
Yes, we'll get to that truck though.
Forgive me. So, forget my amusing anecdote. I was thinking of a different truck that somehow, immediately from the start of the race, just could not keep up with the rest of the field, and I, for the life of me, couldn't understand why you would bother running that truck. And then we got through the end of the race, and almost half the field did not finish. And now it makes sense how you could earn some points just by being the little engine that could, hundreds of yards behind the rest of the field. But so I guess which one was the G2G truck then? Because I was ready to dunk on those fools for having a golf cart on the course.
So it was the 46, and I offhand, where's the damn lineup here? Wait.
46. Well, I'm going to go ahead and tell the good folks at home what
Mason
G2. Go ahead.
Felipe. Felipe. I don't know how to say his last name.
Mason.
Filippi.
I bet it's Philippi.
Probably.
Either way, doesn't matter. All it knows, because Nathan doesn't care, because the glory should not go to Nathan Philippi, because at G2G Racing, all glory goes to God, because it is glory to God Racing. Is that correct?
Yep, that's what it stands for. Or they should be more well known for Go to Garage Racing.
Yeah, because God not only gets all the glory, but apparently all of the money that would be used to, I don't know, have a truck that could actually race. But it's kind of a bummer that they won't be finishing up the playoffs this year, huh? They're going to be off the course for this next one.
Well, what I saw is, so they're not on the entry list for Pocono, and I saw the owner, who's sketchy in his own right, say that they were not going to be at Pocono or Indianapolis, but we're going to be at Richmond in the rest of the year. So take it with a grain of salt, but I don't know about that one. That team is a complete mess, and it starts with the owner down. So just to kind of give an idea here, I won't go into the past too much, but this Tim Vaines guy, first of all, shitty-ass driver. Second of all, real sketchy, like with paying teams and running with teams. Back in 2020, just to give you an idea, so this dude's a major Trump fanatic. Ran a pack, I think, Racers for Trump, which ended up sponsoring a cup team. So you had a Trump 2020 car for a while. There were some other things, but the dude was going to go to Daytona with this owner. I think the owner's name was like Mike Frano. I don't know, some dude from Illinois who's sketchy in their own right. Apparently, the truck hauling the truck down, like wrecked or something. They didn't end up making it. Ended up splitting. This dude bought a bunch of old trucks from like Kyle Busch Motorsports to start this truck team and named it Glory to God for whatever fucking reason.
He bought trucks from the guy who every time he loses a race has the world's shittiest truck. Like, why are you gonna buy Kyle Busch's used trucks? You know they don't do shit.
Well, they're generally pretty good for being Toyota trucks in the
Not according to Kyle.
Well, that's because Kyle Busch.
My car ain't doing shit, brother.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they bought a couple of Kyle Busch scrappers and turned it into Glory to God Racing. Meanwhile, they've been maybe scamming people for money instead.
Which, at the beginning, it looked like pretty legit. They had 2 trucks they were going to run full time. One truck, I believe, was going to have one guy in it, and then the other one was going to be a Mirage driver. So they had a sponsor. I think it was Auto Kits for Less or Auto Parts for Less. I forget the exact name. But when it came to Martinsville back in April, around that time, they ended up cutting the guy, Matt Jaskell, who brought that sponsor, and they tried to rework the deal, and it fell through. So the sponsor and him left. So they've been like piecing it together with like one truck of various drivers. Now we get to Sonoma out in California in June, and this is where it gets real juicy. So they had hired a local guy who run like late models or something out in California, and he was bringing sponsors, so money to provide the team. Well, their hauler got out there like 3 hours late and almost missed practice. But they got there in time where if they had done the going through tech, they would have been able to practice and then qualify. So they get the truck off of the hauler, and according to this guy, like this, there's pieces like missing off this truck. Like it's not completely put together, it's not race ready. And it went through tech and like NASCAR wasn't going to let them race. So on that part, on the same note, this driver who contracted to run this race out in Sonoma as like a local race for him, he had not gotten his NASCAR drug results back yet. I'm not 100% sure if it was because he just took the test late or they were late on getting the results, but he wouldn't have been able to run anyway, even though his results ended up being clean because they didn't come until the Monday after. So it was a whole charade. But this dude just had a history of sketchiness, taking money and things like that, bringing shit boxes to the track, basically. There was even a rumor, and I don't know how legit it is, but back in, I think, May, there was a rumor going around that Ilmore, which is like, they run spec engines now, so they all run the same engines. So people are not building their own engine program in the truck series now. So I thought one of my cats was throwing up. I thought I heard throwing up. No, they're just hanging out.
No, they put on a good little wrestling match for us earlier, though.
Yeah, they're just hanging out in the corner over there. But yeah. Anyway, they apparently like defaulted or something on an engine lease, and like Illimore took the engines back. I don't know how legit that is. I haven't seen any more detail to talk about it, but it's just kind of bringing the vibe towards this thing. And then the fact, like I said, this dude ran Trump 2020 trucks and sponsored all this shit, and as just being fucking stupid and all this stuff. So they're not running at Pocono, which is great because I could care less to see that shit bag and that shit team with that shit box of a shit truck, running this weekend and next weekend.
Yeah, good riddance. And I hate scammers, and I hate people who push their religion on others, and nothing I hate more than maybe even anything in the world is people who use a religious front to get away with scamming other people, because it's like, oh, if I name it glory to God, then people won't question my intentions because I'm a godly person. So you're probably just assuming all this extra money is going to charity or something, because I don't know, these people clearly think a lot of people are stupid from what I've gathered. But good riddance to glory to God. I'll keep an eye out for your return, and if you do anything else stupid, maybe we'll talk about it. But otherwise, you'll get to watch better racing for the next 2 weeks, Nate. So that's a bonus.
And I forgot to say about the race, because this was an important one, it was also the final race of the Triple Truck Challenge. So
that's right.
Basically, for the viewers and the listeners out here, that is something put forth by Marcus Lemonis, who owns Camping World, which sponsors the truck series. Also owns Gander Outdoors, which up until recently was a sponsor too. But they have 3 races a year. The winner of each race gets $50,000 extra. If you win 2 of the 3, I think you get $150,000. It's $100,000 or $150,000 extra. And if you happen to win all 3, you would get $500,000 on top of all the other winnings. So I think you could end up winning $700,000 if you won all 3. So nobody won more than 1. I don't think anybody's won more than 2 ever. So, yeah. So small team ended up winning a cool extra $50,000.
And that's got to be nice too. Yeah, I'm sure that goes a long way to have that. So it was some good racing. Do you think we'll continue to see this here at Mid-Ohio?
I think they should continue to race at Mid-Ohio. I have a feeling. I wonder if they may end up taking this date and take it back to Mosport, which is actually technically Canadian Tire Motorsports Park now up in Canada. I forget how far it is from Toronto, but the town it's in is called Bowmanville, Ontario. But it's a pretty famous track too. And in its own right, and it's put on good racing for the truck series before, like lots of controversial finishes, and it's like east northeast of Toronto, like maybe like an hour from the Rogers Center, which is where the Blue Jays play. It's an hour.
Okay. Well,
So it's not.
I got love for Canada, but I probably won't cover that one live.
But I think they should come back. I mean, it's a good course for a truck series.
Yeah, I certainly enjoyed it, and I can't wait to experience it for myself now that I have finally found my copy of Kart World Series, which you can watch me play on the Bite Size Stream Twitch channel. It might be called Bite Size Sports. I don't know. I'm literally doing my first stream later tonight, so link in the description. But yeah, you can watch me play old PlayStation games or start an NCAA 14 Dynasty. Maybe even whoop this dude at some point online. I don't even know. But anyway, I had to get my ad in there while it was appropriately segmented. What else you got? You got anything else you want to talk about regarding these races? I know you picked the winner, which was
Side note. I don't know if you can really tell, but he is going ham at the door over there.
Yeah, I see it now. What happened? Is there a?
I don't know. One of Angelica's cats might be at the door, so that might have her to play in it.
I was gonna say, what did he get? One of your die casts and slide it under the door?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Oh, hey, there we go, and our special guest. He does not want any of that. Nope. All right. Well, wouldn't be the first time someone showed me their ass on this program. Probably happening in the comments right now. This is great. That's the thumbnail. I'm just telling you. You know, you think I'm gonna edit. You think I'm gonna edit this out, but I'm not.
He is not moving. Well, I think he's about to come jump now.
He's sizing it up for sure. He even looked back once. He's like,
Come on,
commit.
Dude.
Come on, kitty. You gotta.
All right. Well, I guess I'll just do the rest of it like this then.
There you go. Oh, there we go. I was gonna say you can go with the whole Bond villain aesthetic there for the end. But yeah, so we've got some truck series coverage coming in the next couple of weeks. If I'm lucky, Nate's going to be at a couple of these races, so we will, if we get a chance, upload some video, whatever he gets to see, and then if he has time, I'm certainly going to bug you more about it because I'm committed now. Damn it, now we're in there. Also, I want to start. I gotta start learning about some of this iRacing stuff. I know you've been talking about it. I know we've got some friends of the show that do some iRacing. So I don't know. I don't even know where to start with that. So if you know, let me know in the comments below. But
well, you gotta start with getting a wheel and pedal set.
I gotta. Well, right. But I also want to. I want to start watching it too. You know, I'm just gonna jump. I'm just gonna jump right in and just buy a Nintendo wheel and be like, "What's up, guys?"
I think I can't remember where they stream, if it's on YouTube or something else, but they do them live. We didn't talk about our picks though, because before we get to that, talking about the 43, the other shit box in the basically ended up within like 2 laps. I think it was almost a half a lap behind. I mean, the car just sounded fucking terrible and really slow. Yeah, they were the last car on the lead lap, though.
They were. They'd stayed on the lead lap, yeah. And there were multiple times throughout that day where Nate would say something like, "Oh, you can hear this in this car," and I would try to listen for it, and I wouldn't. Sometimes I could hear it, sometimes I couldn't. But with this truck, even I could hear. I was like, Jesus, that does not sound like anything like the rest of these trucks sound. What is going on there? So what would have been the case there is that because you taught me something earlier, I did not realize that these engines were kitted out and that everyone was operating with the same base. So
Well, they're a low budget team, and they're not a scammer, but they definitely don't put a lot of money or don't have a lot of money to put into the truck team.
yeah, small market kind of
I mean,
situation.
that dude basically did his job coming from starting last to ending up 20. I mean, obviously there was some chaos and some people breaking down and stuff taking over, but I think that was that dude's first truck race, and with as shitty of a shit box he had and all that, I mean, that's not a
Hey,
bad day overall for him.
it would he have been screwed if he had not stayed on the lead lap? How would that have worked for him? Would he
Well,
still
I
have been
mean,
ahead of at
just
least everybody who didn't finish? Right.
right. I mean, there were two people that were one lap down and one person who was two laps down, and then 7, 7, 10, 13, 13, 18, 20, 25, 30,
By God.
51,
Yeah.
and 58. So yeah, he would. I mean, there were enough cautions, I think, that he would have ended up getting back on the lead lap, and I'm pretty sure he ended up getting at least one or two lucky dogs in the race. And what I mean by that is when there's a caution, instead of racing back to the stripe to take the caution, field is frozen. The first car one lap down or first car multiple laps down will end up getting a lap back. Because they
Mm.
used to race to the line, and then there were some really questionable safety things back in the early 2000s. So now they freeze the field, and the first person a lap down or first person more than one lap down will end up getting the free pass.
Hey, okay. Well, I mean, shit. In the name of safety, that's probably a good call. But yeah, that I mean, that again, that was part of my education on the day of. Because a couple laps in, I'm thinking, why would you even bother to put this tin can out on the road? Like, all gas ain't free, and none of these parts are free. Them tires aren't free. Why the hell are you even bothering? But then, yeah, you
Mhm.
see all that chaos. You get it. And I guess I'm assuming it's a point system, just like all the others, especially if it's a NASCAR affiliate. So just staying in the race counts for something, I guess. But I just don't understand if your team, I guess, is there money to be made getting 17th every week? Like that just doesn't seem
I mean, it
like
just
why are you
depends
in it?
on what money you're putting in, really. I mean,
So what the
you know,
sponsorship money could maybe be carrying them to profit?
I
Like
mean,
if
that's
you're not placing, right?
yeah. So, like, just an example, the winner, Parker Klingerman. I mean, he's only run 8 races this year because they don't have necessarily the funding to do more and the manpower to do more. But he's 16th in the standings, and if he had run all the races, so ran 7 more, I bet he'd be a championship competitor basically. So you know, I mean, money can be made, not as much in the truck series compared to some of these upper series, basically. So they do end up using a lot of paid drivers, people who bring money or sponsors or whatever.
Got it. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. So, and that was kind of what I was getting at. It's like it's either, guys like me out there just chasing a dream and willing to invest a little bit of money into doing that, or there's got to be some sponsorship money where they're doing some sort of like 1990s, 2000s era Cincinnati Bengals situation where they're like, look, we can still make money so long as we technically are a sport team. So let's just do the bare minimum and make money. But it sounds like it's probably more of maybe with a couple exceptions that we've already discussed, more passion projects for some of these guys. So that makes it make more sense too, because if it was on my bucket list to race at Mid Ohio, I'd hop in one of those fucking shit heaps too and get 19th place just by avoiding all the accidents. I get it. Sometimes you're just happy to be there. So nothing wrong with that. But yeah, when it came to the gambling though, it came to the it wasn't gambling, but when it came to picking winners, I got so screwed, man. It was complete and utter bullshit. I picked what should have been the perfect truck because not only did he rock my birthday number, but he also had his truck painted in the Dale Earnhardt Sr. color scheme, which if you watched our previous episode or if you're in the future and you're watching the doc, you know about my history and love for the Intimidator. I mean, obviously I'm not unique in my love for the man, but I am, I was able to shake his hand at 4 years old. How many people get to say that? Not that I remember it. So I thought I had a real winner here. I was like, oh man, I didn't even know I didn't even know the way the truck was painted when I picked it. I was like, all right, we got to pick a winner. Let's go. We're going with 17. Nate had told me it was a good pick ahead of time because it was someone who had done well on this course before. His truck blew up. What, like?
They I think dropped a cylinder or something.
Okay.
Pretty early.
Real early, like deflatingly early. So early into the point that I had to basically adjust my rooting interests and pull for Nate's pick to win because I wanted this whole thing to kind of end on a high note. I mean, one of us should be right? And then we get to celebrate. And of course, that isn't just exactly what frickin' happened, man. So, God damn it, Nate.
Mine won though. That's the plus.
How'd that set him up for for the playoffs? Who is your guy, and what'd this do for him?
Well, he has not run all the races, so
nothing.
You know,
he made some money, but
they're small. They have one full-time employee, and they're a small team, so they don't have the funding to run all the races. Basically, I mean, this team, if I remember correctly, I'll look it up here. So it's Henderson. I think Henderson Motorsports. Yeah, Henderson Motorsports. So they have a long history. This team, in some form or fashion, has been around since 1982.
Oh,
part-time in the Cup Series. Maybe part-time in the Busch Series. I don't know that they ran full-time. And then they've been around in the Truck Series for a while. They had a period where they didn't enter any races for 5 years, but they have won 3 races in the Truck Series.
Hell ain't nothing.
I think it's 3 well, they won 3 in the Xfinity Series, 2 in the Truck Series, and the 2 have been from the same guy. He won at Talladega in 2017, and then obviously Mid-Ohio.
So because he's part-time, he won't be, will he be able to race? Because they have playoff races, right? Do they have that in the Truck Series as well?
Yep, their first one is going to be at IRP here I guess it's technically a Brownsburg address.
So is it a thing where you can race in the playoff race, but your standing might not? Because that's how it goes in the other ones, right? Not everyone, or do they lower the field?
Everybody can race just for the championship. It's just a set amount of drivers.
Got
so
it.
I don't know what their plan is for further schedules. But they will, I'm sure, figure it out or something along those lines. But they're not eligible because they didn't run all the races. Although what's funny is if you didn't have to run all the races, they would be in the playoffs because in the Xfinity and Truck Series, if you win a race in the regular season and you're in the top 20 in points, you're in the playoffs. And even though they've run half the races, They've been good enough where they're 16th in points. But they have not run full time.
Yeah.
Just like the guy in 20th has run the same amount of races. It has 2 wins, but he's like a developmental driver for Toyota. So he's not eligible either.
Well, that's kind of a bummer. I
mean, the rules
probably,
kind of in
probably
place.
there for a reason. But.
The rules kind of in place just to like they want people participating all the time. They do offer waivers sometimes, based on injuries, and they even gave one to a guy who had a 1-race suspension, which was kind of dumb personally. But things like that, they'll do that.
It's kind of counteractive to a punishment. Yeah. Okay, so, well, do you have any other thoughts on the race itself, or just anything?
I hope that they keep going back to Mid-Ohio at least a little bit.
Yes, absolutely. Same here. I know I will be there, and I'll probably keep an eye out on what's going on at Mid-Ohio in general. Just find a different reason to go check it out, even if it's not NASCAR affiliated.
They do have IndyCar.
Oh, yup. We'll be there for that. That will be cool. So, and in the meantime, be on the lookout for a special update and a new channel, and probably some crossover between the 2 channels. So, come check us out. We'll stream some stuff later. But Nate, thank you so much, sir, for joining me. Screw you for winning the race. I'm still mad about it. I'll get over it in a month.
All right.